All right. Well, welcome everybody to ANC3C's July public safety meeting. I am Adam Prinzo, the commissioner for 3CO2 and co-chair of this committee. Rick is here. Do you want to say something?
Sure, I do. First of all, welcome, and it's been a little while since we had a meeting just because of some quorum issues, but we're very pleased again to welcome NPD. I see that Captain Haskis has joined. I don't know whether uh, Lieutenant Johnson has joined yet, but I understand he will be as well. So we look forward to an update from NPD. We're also going to be joined. I know that Robert, the head of the Woodley Park Main Street Business Association, is here and expect to be joined as well by a couple of business managers or owner operators. In one case, Stephen Singh, who is the senior manager at Giant, we expect will be joining, as well as the owner operator of the 7-Eleven. And after the police update, we've invited the business owners or representatives of businesses just to provide, from their perspective, their views after the strong focus by NPD, which we appreciate, especially the institution of foot patrols on Connecticut Avenue, especially in the Cleveland Park area, but their perspective of what is working well, what is improved and what are some areas of focus still, both for the police department, but also for the community, where we can all be helpful in creating a more safe and vibrant community for our businesses and our residents. So with that, if there are any other questions on the agenda, we can start. Are there any questions, first of all? Okay. Well, again, I see Captain Haskis do you know, is Lieutenant Johnson joining us? I don't see him on screen.
You're on mute.
Thank you. Lieutenant Johnson is delayed a little bit.
Okay.
But I could start the briefing.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Welcome again.
Oh yes, thank you for having me. And this is glad that we could talk about some of the issues, because our thefts are creeping up again for Woodley Park. So in terms of the last 30 days, in terms of violent crime, we've had one violent crime. It is it's this time last year, in the last 30 days, we had two violent crimes in the police service area. This one was actually out on the 3700 block of Massachusetts Avenue, not in Woodley Park. I guess that's called more Cathedral Heights, and but none in the Woodley Park area. It was where two parties had known each other, so it wasn't like a random act. In terms of robberies, there were no robberies in the last 30 days in the PSA. In terms of burglaries in the last 30 days, no burglaries. One motor vehicle theft, 15 theft from autos. That has shot up very recently. 30 thefts. So in the last 30 days, the only increase from last year in the last 30 days has been thefts. And that has been, of course, concentrated around the CVS there at Calvert and Connecticut. For year to date, we are, in terms of robberies, we're even with last year. We have a 6 ADWs this year as opposed to 5 last year. We're down markedly on burglaries, 1 so far this year in the police service area as opposed to 14 last year. 24 motor vehicle thefts as opposed to 17 last year, so we're up on motor vehicle thefts. We're down quite a bit on theft from autos year to date, 51 as opposed to 105 last year. And in terms of thefts, we are up about 34% from last year. 174 as opposed to 130 last year. The increase in the motor vehicle thefts has been, as of late, has been in the area just off of Connecticut Avenue, the Woodley Road area, and the streets around there. Cathedral, Garfield. And that's my little rundown. Any questions?
Were there any questions from the committee?
Yeah, I have a question. I live in Cleveland Park. Does that include, do those statistics include wheels being taken from cars?
It does. So it does not include statistics from Cleveland Park. The statistics that I'm quoting basically are from Woodley Park, from Rock Creek up to Macomb Street, all the way to Glover Park.
Got it. So is Cleveland, sorry, this is my first time joining. So is Cleveland
sure.
Park in a different
The Cleveland Park would be
grouping?
part of 3F.
Got it.
Or PSA 203, I should say. Most of Cleveland Park, according to
Thank
our police service areas.
Yep. Thank you.
Kathy, go ahead.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Well, thank you, Pat.
My question goes to an incident that I had seen a Gerstein affidavit covering an armed robbery that took place at one of the shops in the Woodley Park area. I believe that one of the shops that sells marijuana or marijuana products.
Oh, yes.
And there was, a gun involved, and then the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator was located up at the Parkway Apartments on Connecticut, right at Macomb.
Exactly.
And so I was, I'm often confused a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't know all the categories, terribly well. So following exactly whether I am, tracking, what you're reporting is a little challenge for me. Where, that was an incident that was pretty serious. I understand that the individual involved, allegedly, the perpetrator was held, and I don't know what is going on with that now. Well, how does that fit into the statistics that you delivered? And
so that robbery, one of the 4 that have been in Woodley Park year to date, closed that particular robbery.
okay. Okay, I thought you had said zero, robberies. I simply, did not, hear you
Oh,
correctly.
zero robberies in the last 30 days.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Because sometimes you're talking
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
year to date, and sometimes it's not.
Let me try to clarify. 0 robberies in the police service area in the last 30 days. 7 robberies in the police service area year to date. 4 of those 7 year to date have been in Woodley Park. In the police service area, the other ones were Glover Park and Cathedral Heights. I hope that clarifies.
Will you be talking about Cleveland Park tonight, or is that outside of the
I could
scope of
speak
what you're
about-
talking?
I could speak about Cleveland Park if you all like. I could pull up.
That would be great. That's my,
That would be good. Thank you.
thank you.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Let me do a little statistical rundown on Cleveland Park real quick. Let me pull up. Now, I have to clarify also in that the statistics I speak of is our police service areas, which don't necessarily match up with your wards. So Cleveland Park also includes, it's our police service area 203 and includes much of the Van Ness area.
Right, right.
So let me pull up 203. All right, I just pulled up 203, which includes most of Cleveland Park. Cleveland Park, and I guess what's commonly referred to as North Cleveland Park and Forest Hills. In terms of all right, last 30 days for police service area 203, there's been 1 assault with a deadly weapon and 3 robberies. Those 3 robberies largely stemming from Sunday morning when we were hit by a suspect in a gray vehicle. I'm very confident we'll close that, those string of robberies that occurred up in North Cleveland Park and Forest Hills this past Sunday morning. So 3 robberies in the last 30 days. 1 assault with a deadly weapon, 5 motor vehicle thefts, 15 theft from autos, and 25 thefts in police service area 203. So as opposed to last year, in the last 30 days, we had 2 robberies last year in the last 30 days, 3 this year. No burglaries as opposed to 3 last year. 5 motor vehicle thefts as opposed to 8 last year. 15 theft from autos as opposed to 17 last year. And 25 thefts as opposed to 34 last year in this past 30-day period. So the numbers have been very good the last 30 days. The only thing is we got hit with those 3 robberies recently on Sunday.
Yeah.
They
I-
recovered.
I was gonna say, I had gotten an email update about the recovered vehicle, so I just wanted to let folks know about that.
Yeah, so Captain Haskis, so the stats are good versus the year ago period, but
Yeah, until the
I-
robberies were wonderful.
yeah,
until
yeah.
Sunday. It's very upsetting. But the good news is year to date, we are down 13% on robberies. We're down 63% on ADWs, 3 as opposed to 8. We're down 64% year to date on burglaries, 4 as opposed to 11. We're up 8% on motor vehicle thefts. Those have been trending up as of late. Unfortunately, we're down 50% on theft from autos year to date, although they have been trending up as of late as well. And thefts were up 23% year to date. Those have been trending about steady around that rate. Although the last 2 weeks, we're down 47% on thefts, but I think 2 weeks is a little too short
Yeah.
window. So, but in terms of motor vehicle thefts, we've been trying to do a lot of outreach. especially with our Hyundais and Kias of certain model years, they've been very easily getting stolen. And they've been getting affected throughout the second district, even our remotest parts of the second district.
Yeah.
If you have a Hyundai or Kia, they seem to be able to find those things very easily. Another thing that we've been very much focused on is any contractor thefts that had trended up a little bit, but I think that's under control now.
So I saw your note about just reminding people to lock their cars and do things, and then I literally walked out on the street, and then I had a couple of neighbors that were talking about car thefts and just saying like they'd rather just leave their doors open than have their car windows bashed in. I don't know, sort of like the back and forth on that. I don't know if it matters. The
Yeah.
other question, and I know Oscar is here as well, and he had emailed me earlier, I think it was today or yesterday, that we had another, I guess, couple of like vehicles that had all of their tires stolen.
Yes.
You know, that had been kind of like, I felt like that we had a bubble of that last year, and then it kind of slowed down, and then like it sounds like maybe we're having a bubble of that again. But I just wanted to see if that is included in like car thefts, or like what's the deal on that?
It's included under theft from autos. So, and that's why they've trended up recently. It's partly due to those tire thefts. They seem to come and go in spurts. So.
Yeah, they do.
And
Is there anything like car owners could do on that front? I don't know.
I really highly recommend wheel locks, like the special keys. They tend to be very good at deterring them.
Is it specific, like, you know, how it's the Hyundais and Kias for like the being stolen? Is it any specific trends of like types of cars that are like easier to steal their tires, or is it totally random?
More common cars, popular cars. So they seem to want to cast a very wide net on potential customers. So we're finding like Hondas, Acuras, Toyotas.
Nobody wants my Mini Cooper wheels. They're a pain.
Sure, somebody will, but maybe not the market they're going for at the moment.
I don't think so. Appreciate that though. Yeah, I know folks are, you know, curious if there are things they can do, or
Yeah, wheel locks, highly recommend them.
Okay.
I actually have my neighbor has an Acura SUV, and last year early in the morning, and very embarrassing for me,
Yeah.
my neighbor's somebody was trying to take the wheels from my neighbor's car, and he's such an early riser. He came outside like 4:30 a.m. because that's when he walks his dog, and actually they drove off, and they got scared off because of it.
Crazy.
And, yeah, and he got wheel locks, and he's not been bothered since. So I really do recommend the wheel locks.
Okay.
Any
Appreciate
other questions? I'll update you all when we close the robberies.
Yeah, that would be great. One of those was on my block, and you know, obviously have a lot of folks that are concerned.
Yeah, it was not a typical Sunday morning at the second district. And they didn't get anything, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a cell phone that they tossed later. It's
Yeah.
very well thought or planned, I think. It was just somebody who thought he could just steal a car and drive around some parts of the city and get some money or cash, but he got really just people walking early in the morning, getting their steps in. They weren't on their way to go shopping or anything like that.
No.
Commissioner Prinzo, did you have a question?
I just had a quick comment because I wanted to thank the captain and everybody else from 2D. I've noticed recently we've been getting you've been sending us emails like when something big happens, and I personally really appreciate that because I do get the questions like, I saw a bunch of cops in this area, so
That's so helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, to get
Well,
them.
we're getting positive feedback on that. We will continue to do that and more.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Thank you.
I know I was talking to Commissioner Paggets as well, and she also was very happy that you guys were sending us those emails proactively, and it just helps us when we go out into the community and talk to people, because we're always stopped in the street and people are like, well, I saw a bunch of cop cars, so what's going on? And just to have the emails on hand is great.
Appreciate it. We'll definitely expand that thing.
I just had a question, Captain. Under the new DC budget, do you anticipate having the funds to continue the close foot patrols on Connecticut Avenue?
I'm a big, so, I don't know how much the budget is really helping us put things into the pipeline for the future.
Mhm.
I could speak for the present and, I consider the foot patrols on Connecticut Avenue to be essential, so I will continue them as much as I can.
Great. Yeah, we've certainly received positive feedback on that.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Appreciate the feedback, and I will do my best to keep them going.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Kathy, did you have another question?
Just one quick one. If there's a way that others could get information about, goings on as the ones that you were talking about that you're alerting the commissioners to, it would be very helpful. Earlier this week, there were several police cars outside Parkway, that same apartment building where, the gun was thrown out of the window and so forth. And there was also an emergency vehicle, an ambulance, and they were taking out, a stretcher and people observe these things as they're on their way doing their work and we're wondering, what happened. And then it's like the police eventually, after some period of time, disappear and the ambulance goes away. People don't hang out to see if some poor soul is being taken out of the building. But the continued presence of multiple police cars did raise questions as to whether this is just a medical emergency or there was something else going on. How
do you
can
have the
we
date?
pursue some? I do, but I don't have
Look
it
it up
right now.
if
It
you'd
would,
like.
I can get you whether it was Monday or Tuesday or which day it was. It
Yeah.
was this week.
Give me the date, I'll find out what it is for you. Yeah, those could be so wide ranging. It could be anything from somebody who's having a fit, mental health episode, and we need a few officers to break down the door and get this person the help they need. And the person rather large and muscular, and not wanting to go, which means you need multiple officers. Yeah, the large police presence could be, or it could also be, an arrest, or sometimes we get calls that, somebody has a gun, and extra people go for that. So it could be a lot of different things, or sometimes we have somebody's running around the building with a knife and we have officers checking each floor. It could be so many different things, but if you get me the date and time, I could probably.
I will
find
do.
out.
I can do that. I have that, but just not right on me right now. Do you actually report, unlicensed guns that you come across and, people from whom I assume you divest them of their guns or
We
whatever.
publish all our arrests on a daily basis, and if it's a gun-based one, it's denoted. So yes, we do.
Okay.
And, we also we'll be pushing out any gun arrests or any guns found in your respective neighborhoods.
Mhm.
I just wanted to interject. I'm looking at the list of participants and wanted to see whether we have Stephen Singh from Giant, and I apologize for mispronouncing this name, Naoud Igijo, who was the owner operator of 7-Eleven. I don't see them on the list, but I just want to see if they might have signed in under another account. If not, we do have Robert Mines from Woodley Park, Main Street and Business Association here. And I know Cassandra has also joined us, and Robert, I'd ask you, and then if Cassandra also has time, just to to chime in. You all are closest to the businesses, obviously, in the areas that your organization serves and partners with. From your perspective, from the business perspective, with the attention from MPD, which we all appreciate, do you see things working better? What are some areas you'd like to see more of? Where are there gaps? Well,
Yeah, thank you.
Sir. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Yeah, I spoke with Wooby last week. Let me start with the positive. So I was in the corridor yesterday and today, and I don't remember which day it was, but there was an outreach in the CVS itself with police officers inside and of course the cruiser outside. What I understand from Wooby, when there are cruisers outside, generally people don't steal anymore. But literally within 5 minutes of the police leaving, it's almost as if there's somebody hiding on National Park Service land, just waiting for the moment that they can strike. And he's seen an uptick in theft from his store since the closest CVS in. I'm sorry, I forgot the location, but the Adams Morgan CVS closed, and there's been an uptick in theft from his store since then. For the rest, I think things have been relatively calm. We started off the year with something like 1 crime a day in the first 20 days of this year, and 3 were with weapons. That's no longer something that I'm hearing, so I'm very thankful for that. And I would reiterate again about both the cruisers and the foot patrols. They make a huge difference. And I have one question that I know has been asked a great deal, but the exit route for almost anyone stealing anything in the neighborhood is straight to the metro. And where is the disconnect in terms of being able to stop someone like that? Because we know what the route is that everyone's taking, and I've been pushing the Camera Connect program, and I've got 4 businesses lined up that are interested in doing that. So hopefully we can help the police in tracking where people are going. But is there any way that there's a connection between MPD and Metro that could stop people trying to get into the metro station, or is that too dangerous for other travelers?
So we are always communicating with Metro. The problem is frankly, the CVS calls, we usually get the calls way later. And by the time we get there, it's 10-20 minutes and person's long gone by then. And then we pull the video footage, and we do really recommend that you all join the MPD program on the RTCC.
Yeah,
it will help things, we believe, quite a bit. But the issue that we usually have is if we get there quick enough, we could try to see if Metro can stop them in the stations. But also Metro Transit doesn't have many officers, so they don't have enough people staff at each station. So Woodley Park, they don't always have officers down there.
So I don't know if this is totally anecdotal, because I think that's probably a combination of things that feel like a reduction, but like Cleveland Park, right at Cleveland Park Metro. And so like I used to probably, like, I guess when I say used to, I'm thinking last year, but like I would just see robberies like all the time. Target, CVS, running into Metro or whatever. But like I'm assuming that's a camera in the Target parking lot outside of the Metro.
It is.
And it's very visible MPD. I feel like since that has been up, I haven't seen any. So I don't know if it's just a deterrent or if what's going on there or whatever, but like, I don't know if there's any ability to have MPD cameras at like Woodley Park Metro that might help just be a deterrent as well.
Yeah, well, Metro has wonderful cameras down in the station. So we'll explore putting up a camera. We've been exploring putting a camera in like intersection of Calvert and Connecticut. So that's something that we are exploring. Cameras are really good for the follow-up investigation. And unfortunately, we can't always be in front of that CVS 24/7. I'd love to be,
Yeah.
And when we leave, I know the person who's probably been staring at that CVS for the past hours, they left. I'll go commit my theft right now. We have our detectives following up, and we've been closing cases. We've had more than double the arrests this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah.
In terms of the CVSs and retail thefts, but there's just so many occurring that
Yeah.
unfortunately there's a lot of more we could do. So yeah, I'm not sure that it's just if we could get quicker phone calls maybe from CVS, but getting there so late.
Well, I mean, the fact that there's literally a police QR code for check-in, and that I was there today, and there was a table there with police officers there inside. You know, it's clearly not that MPD is not spending enough time or resources on the CVS. We very much appreciate your being there, and that really helps. Our concern is that that's an anchor in the neighborhood, in terms of the diversity of the businesses. So were they to close, as the one in Adams Morgan did, you know, that would hurt the entire business community. So
We deploy our resources in Woodley Park with that understanding.
thank you.
I think that Mr. Singh has joined the meeting. You may be on mute. But first of all, just wanted to welcome you. We've had an update from Captain Haskis of the 2nd District MPD. And we've also heard from Robert Mines of the Woodley Park Main Street. But Mr. Singh, I'm glad you joined because you know, I recall a conversation that we all had probably a month ago in the Giant store. And originally the conversation started with a couple of constituents who had raised questions about Giant's new policy on backpacks and large bags and so forth. And really, it was a very informative conversation that then encompassed the whole range of some of the issues that you're seeing as a store manager. And we've heard from the captain about you know, some real progress that MPD has made in reducing crime in the police service areas, covering Cathedral Heights, Woodley Park, Cleveland Park. But we wanted to get the business perspective. You know, what is, you know, first of all, hopefully you're seeing some progress year over year, and hopefully, you know, as against the beginning part of the year. But from your perspective as well, what else would you like to see? What could use more focus and attention, both from the police department and the community?
I mean, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I've only been there like 9 months, and while I have seen some progress, and Giant has instituted the bag check, and our CEO says it best. It was instituted for most of all for the safety of the employees, plus the theft. I have seen a decline in the shoplifting for a little bit. My only ask, I mean, is the response rate, and I know, I'm not privy to how the cops in DC, with respect to, responding to stuff like that. But, and personally, I've heard that they are understaffed, and, so their response time, they have to prioritize. So I would like to see that, a little more progress with respect to that and the response time for the stores and things, because sometimes we do have things that get out of hand, and sometimes we just have to let it go.
Are there any specific instances in recent memory that I could research and see what?
Well, we did have one of the guys that comes in. I mean, it was like a month or so and a half, and they had an altercation with the security guard. One of them actually assaulted the guard, took her purse,
So I remember
and
that.
left.
Yeah.
And left the building, with maybe like 3 or 4 of their friends. And I mean, while the cops responded, the thing about it is that, someone saw them, took a bus, and they had the number on, of the bus and everything, and where he was going to, and you know, somewhere along the line, up to this moment, we haven't gotten any answer from that, or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll study that call, and if I'll drop my email in there, or if you want to send me your email in the chat, I
Okay.
will.
Yeah, I must say that you know, since I've been there, you know, you guys, they have the QR code, which they do send people in to check in, which is really really good, because sometimes, you know, they would come in and spend a, you know, an hour or two, you know, just to have a presence there, which is really really good too, for especially for the business.
Okay, yeah, we'll, I'll research that call and some other calls there, and yeah, we'll try to be better about getting there on time.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I mean, I know there's no typical call, but if a call comes in such proximity to the second district, do you usually have to dispatch an officer from some distance, or is
Yeah,
that?
so we're not like the fire department where if you live next to the fire station, you're gonna get the fire truck the fastest.
No.
Our cars are actively discouraged from being at the station. We want them out and about. If I see cars at the station, or if we see the management here sees cars at the station, we become unhappy. We want them not far away, but not necessarily, oh, they can be far away, but they have to be up by Chevy Chase, Cleveland Park, Woodley Park. I mean, the second district stretches all the way to downtown.
Mhm.
DuPont, City Center, the mall, Boggy Bottom, Georgetown, Palisade. So yeah, we have our cars all over the place. So, and we do sometimes get calls close to the station where I've walked over and checked it out myself, or because I knew with our cars further away, my walking over there would be quicker.
Well, thank you, that's great. Mr. Singh, did you have anything else?
I do not know the stance that you guys have with respect, because one of the things that I face, and even this week, you know, we had outside of our red bricks, you know, we have the jurisdiction of that. We can ask someone to leave and thing. Well, right in the front of my store, which is really doing a disservice, there are a bunch of panhandlers, and I guess they knew the law that they can stand there. But we've had numerous where they threatened customers. I had one lady this week, and when I went out, we had to walk her out, and then the guy started threatening, you know, making threats that he's going to blow us up and that kind of thing. So that's one aspect, because it's not good for business, but it's not good for customer safety. And I don't know the stance also, because we do lose as a business a bunch of shopping carts to the neighborhood, and like every week I have to put my guys at risk, you know, because they have to go get the carts and sit in buildings. So I do not know what's the stance on that, and who can help me out, because
Sure.
I do every week. Yeah.
So in terms of panhandlers, obviously on public space in non-private property, they can panhandle. If they're on your property, it's very easy, or just call MPD to say, take them off, you know, you don't want them on the property. And if they refuse to leave, that's an arrest. So that should be pretty easy. Maybe I could send a sergeant or a lieutenant or myself to meet with some of your employees there, explaining just how the process works. But if you have somebody, panhandler, or could be anybody, somebody who's walking up to people and being inappropriate, you want them to leave your store. They refuse to leave the store, MPD will come and the person can be placed under arrest for unlawful entry. So that shouldn't be a big issue in terms of to tackle. And your other question in terms of, I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Shopping carts.
Oh, shopping carts.
Yeah,
Yes. Shopping carts, if you have employees that feel unsafe getting shopping carts, MPD, I mean, our business is safety, so if they're 3 blocks away and say, we want to get these carts, but they feel unsafe, call, say, you want to retrieve some property, and MPD will help you. We'll go over there and make sure the place, the scene is safe.
You know, I will share to Mr. Singh's point of some of the panhandling and other activity on the sidewalk. I've heard from several constituents, really neighbors, and of course, Giant technically lies just outside this ANC, but only 100 yards west of where ANC3C ends. And so many of our neighbors, our constituents, shop at Giant regularly. And, what I've heard from more than a handful is in the past when people would walk, and of course we want walkable communities and to patronize local businesses. Now they drive, or others used to drive and they find that still they are being, to use their word, hassled by activity on the street. And I realize there is there's a line between First Amendment activity, which is allowed, and aggressive panhandling. But I have heard now that people have shifted their shopping away from Giant and some of the Cathedral Commons stores, say up to Wegmans in City Center, where obviously the developer and the operator control those sidewalks off of Wisconsin Avenue. And I realize that's reflective of the law, but aggressive handling is a situation, and it is, from what I have been told, causing our local businesses to lose customers.
So appreciate that point. Yeah, I noticed the panhandlers in front. And yeah, I would just very much encourage anyone who is the victim of aggressive panhandling to call us and point out who does the aggressive panhandling. But that's where I think lies the problem. I don't think people are afraid, or people don't want to identify the person, and they don't do it. They certainly don't do it when I walk over to grab my lunch sometimes from the station to Giant. They don't aggressively panhandle me. So what we can do is I'll get our outreach team over there to deal with maybe some of the unhoused individuals, see if we could get them going. I've dealt with a few things firsthand over there. One time I was grabbing my lunch and CVS was calling a theft, and I had to run after the person, caught up to them over by the Cactus Cantina. So yeah, there are some issues. In terms of private property, I think we'll meet with Giant. If anybody's in the store bothering anybody, there's barring notice they can do. And if the person's refusing to leave the store, MPD can and will make arrests in such scenarios. I don't personally know of any scenarios where we've got a call at the Giant and somebody's telling us this person is bothering customers, won't leave, arrest him or her. So we definitely have that ability to do that on private property. I think many are speaking about what's occurring out on the sidewalk, and we'll try to do other ways to try to address that with outreach and try to get some of maybe DBH or our homeless, our unhoused outreach for them.
Thank you. Cassandra Hetherington, from a Cleveland Park perspective, is there anything that you'd want to share that you're hearing from businesses and establishments?
It's what I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing a lot of complaints about crime lately. So there was just a couple of the poor 7-Eleven. There seemed to always be a target, but they were robbed by a bunch of teenagers who rushed in and filled their pockets with stuff, and the owner locked the door and told him they either needed to pay or he was calling the police. So but yeah, it's been, maybe people just aren't telling me, but it seems to be pretty quiet in Cleveland Park. I know some.
I concur. I feel like I hear about it a lot. We both heard about it a lot in previous
Yeah.
like years or months or whatever, and it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah. I know someone had their tires taken off their car.
Yeah, the tires and the robbery. I mean, there's two big things, but at the same time, and considering what we were at before, it feels like progress.
Yes, thank you. We do have a increase in the number of unhoused people, I've noticed, with their tents and their belongings under trees and the panhandle.
The guy living in the bike station at
He's
our metro.
moved to the tree.
Tree?
He's in the tree in front of Chase Bank now.
In the tree?
No, he's at the base of the tree, but they
It's like, what?
no.
This is getting next level. Okay.
They repaired the bike racks.
Good,
and
good.
He's over there, but there's someone in a tent now in front of the Walgreens.
Bless. All right.
Yep. Lot of, I'd say that's sort of the biggest challenge right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I think that confirms what we're hearing, that, you know, there is certainly progress year over year, and we appreciate the focus and attention from MPD, including around the foot patrols and, you know, more frequent cruiser presence. Obviously, still more to do in Woodley Park, and, you know, we've heard from some of the issues on the Wisconsin Avenue strip, particularly around Giant and Cathedral Conference. And I know happened that your colleagues Giant and so we really appreciate that. Are there other questions or comments while we still have the captain? And again, we really appreciate your spending.
I just have a quick question to go back to the Giant discussion quickly. What I guess what constitutes like aggressive panhandling? Is that something as simple as like, I'm gonna blow you all up, as he was saying? Like, would that be considered aggressive panhandling, or is that like actively following somebody if they refuse to give you money?
Both. Yeah.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, aggressive panhandling, repeatedly following somebody and asking them, illegal. Asking once, person walks by and says no, not illegal. They could do that all day. Following people, making them feel unsafe, doing it within 10 feet of an ATM. Blocking their way, stuff like that makes it aggressive and illegal. And also in the street, they can't do it in the street.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Are there more questions or comments on this subject or on anything else from members of the committee or the public? Well, thank you very much. Again, Captain Haskis, we really appreciate your not only providing the update, but staying to hear some feedback.
Appreciate the feedback. Thank you very much. We will work at addressing the feedback we received.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Singh and Robert and Cassandra and everybody else, thank you very much for participating.
Thank you. Let's keep in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Adam, are there any more items of business that you have before we adjourn?
I don't believe so. I know we talked a little bit about expanding into emergency management and other like FEMS issues. So I did quickly want to flag that a bill that we previously commented on in the emergency management and FEMS realm. If anybody remembers last December, Miss District of Columbia 2023 came to talk to us about cardiac health response plans in schools. So that bill actually received a hearing yesterday in the committee of the whole, and it is poised to go on the council's agenda for a vote when they first vote, I think, is next week, and then the second vote would be after they adjourn after they return from their summer recess. So just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that that is still out there. And it would require DCPS as well as other district like DPR and DPW run facilities to have AED devices in public space and have people that are trained in administering that type of aid employed. So right now, I think what I found very interesting is that the district does require AED devices in all district-owned buildings, but doesn't actually require people to know how to use them. So that will change. This will change that.
Hopefully there'll be funds for training as well as for ongoing
Yes.
checking and maintenance of the AED and other equipment.
So I had a discussion about this last year when I did the CPR first aid and AED training with DCFEMS. We have an AED at the CVS in Woodley Park. I don't think anyone really knows that that's the case. So I think we can also do a bit of outreach in terms of letting the other businesses know if there's somebody with a cardiac issue. You can call 911. You can also send someone to CVS to grab the AED to have to get some form of response protocol in the neighborhood.
That's really good to know. Good idea.
Because 911 doesn't always respond as quickly as we would like.
You might very well think that I couldn't possibly comment. I'm just giving another option.
Thanks. Tammy, you're closest to the Cleveland Park commercial area. Are there any other issues or questions you want to raise?
Nope. I had the two things that I needed some clarification on to let folks know, but we covered it.
Okay, great.
I guess 3.
Well, thanks. Cassandra, Robert, anything else?
Not from my side, thank you.
Okay, the
Good
ANC proper is not meeting in August, and so I assume the committee will not, but Adam and I will check with other members of the committee and see if there's any reason to schedule a meeting at that point. But at this point, I don't think we are anticipating one.
And the full ANC meets on Monday.
Correct. Okay, well, thank you again, everyone. Good discussion. Really appreciate the time.
See you later.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.